Uh,
Well, good
yeah.
afternoon, everybody,
Yeah.
and welcome
Yeah.
welcome to the messages of inspirational stories.
Yeah. How you motherfuckers doing out there in TV land?
Apparently, the TV show intro did not get punched.
Okay, here. Am I supposed to punch it or are you going to punch it? I'll punch it. I don't care. I'll do the
Yeah.
recording and punch. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? It's under brand. There we go.
Well, we can.
Let's do it again.
Uh,
E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guimwa, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guimwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the messages of inspirational stories. Boy, good help's hard to find, Jim.
Well, I'm sorry. What else can I say? We're sitting there and we got to go live, and she's looking at me and I'm looking at her, and she's do something. Okay. Hint, hint.
Oh, good.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6-Minute Webinar and our good friend, Mr. Bill Heinrich, The 7 Levels of Truth. We like to point out his book there because Bill has been a very positive influence on mine and Donna's life. He's helped us a lot. And everything he does, and if you contact, let's see if we can find Bill's contact information here. I think we got it somewhere down here. Bill's website is truelifepurposenow.com. If you go there, and his book is all about helping you find your purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
Just get over the roadblocks that's, blocking you. And if you go there and just say, I'd like to schedule a 30-minute complimentary consultation with you. If they met you on the TV show, he'll be more than happy to give you that 30-minute complimentary consultation. And he will not just add you to an email list and spam you up, will he?
Right. No, he is way, way too busy for that.
Yeah, he's
But
way
he
above
has a
that.
giving heart and will
Mhm.
absolutely get you in the schedule to help you in what way he can.
Mhm. And the same thing with Donna here. We got to put Donna's message up there. I mean, Donna is an expert in helping people also find, what's blocking their energy and all that. Just go to donnaguimwa.com. If you'd like to email Donna personally, she keeps it real simple. High energy right now, because if you need some high energy, you need it right now.
Right? Not yesterday, not
That's
tomorrow.
right. Oh,
right
yeah. That's right. That's right. But she'll be glad to give you a complimentary consultation and, see how she can be a benefit and a blessing to you and go from there, because that's what it's about.
Right.
And Donna, you and I think we should give a shout out to some real good friends of ours.
Yes, absolutely.
Anna Lynn and Raymond Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Their story is so beautiful. We got to share it with you.
Powerful.
Yeah. Raymond and her just started dating. He was 29 years of age. He just got diagnosed that he had kidney failure. And he did not realize what a serious thing that was and the long journey that was going to take. So he figured, Anna Lynn at that time was only 23. He figured, well, I'm just going to go back to Charleston, South Carolina, I think it was. And he was just going to, go back home and deal with his health problem because he didn't want to put it on a young girl like that,
Right.
and especially when we just got met and started dating. And she said, time out. You don't know me. I'm here in the long run.
Mhm.
They create the 1 in 9 kidney organization. Kidney Challenge, is it? I think it is. I think we got it on there, don't we? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Let me look.
If not, I'll pull it up and I'll put a marquee on there because they educate people a lot about 1 in 9 people have kidney disease or some form of kidney disease. And that is really shocking and amazing that it's like that. I
And
mean,
it's also very difficult, right?
yes.
My father had to have dialysis because of his diabetes. And I can tell you, it absolutely drains the person going through
Yes.
dialysis.
Mm,
They are so tired when they're done that all they can do is barely get up
mhm,
and walk, out of the clinic of dialysis and get
mhm,
home and eat a bite, and they just sit because they're drained. It literally goes
mhm,
in and washes, if you will, the blood,
mhm,
right? Takes out the old and puts in the good, clean.
mm. And she does his treatments at home, and they've done a lot of work in that area. I'm trying to think of it's 1 in 9 kidney, and
Well, and
I
what I understand about the home dialysis, it's not as difficult on the body, but it takes longer.
yeah, mhm,
Right? So it's a longer span of time. So if you do the dialysis in a dialysis place, office, I don't know the exact time anyone needs it, but say it was 3 hours, it
mhm,
maybe would be double that for at home.
mhm,
It's a much
yeah,
longer process, but it's not
yeah.
as hard on the body.
Mhm. It really is. Plus, it's a lot more relaxed to do anything at
Right.
home as opposed to in a doctor's office and that sort of thing. And it's just amazes me the work that they have done. 1 in 9 kidney challenge. I just found it here. I'm going to click on that link and I'm going to make a marquee because if you or someone you know is suffering from kidney disease, 1 in 9 kidneychallenge.com. I'm going to copy this here and put it on marquee. Be sure and share this information with them because this is so important. And I'm just going to put it right in there just like I copied it. And boom, chicky boom, there it is. And here we go. There we go. One
There
in
it
nine kidney challenge. I knew it had another word in there, and I knew it wasn't
is.
disease, but like Donna said at the beginning of the show, it's a good help's hard to find. But we want to give a shout out to Anna Lynn and Raymond Scott, both they're great friends of ours. They've really been a blessing to us on our show, and they do anything and everything they can to be a blessing to you.
Right.
That's just who they are.
Yep. Wonderful people.
Yes, they are.
So, awesome. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you for all you do to help educate and help other people with
Oh,
kidney challenges.
absolutely, absolutely. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people.
Yep. But, today I'm pretty excited.
Hmm.
We have, Thursday is all about our pets, right? The
Hmm.
pets that we love,
Amen.
right? Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the way that pets help us, right? How they can improve our health.
Hmm.
And we know some of it, but these articles that we have found actually go into a little more detail, don't they, Jim?
Yes, they do. And there's one organization out there, they're a help guide, and they talk about the health and mood boosting
Mhm.
benefits of pets. My
Right.
goodness gracious. They start out, that we understand, and they remind us of the fact that pets come with some very powerful health benefits. And
Absolutely.
and they also share information on how, caring for a dog or cat or other animal can help relieve you from depression and anxiety. It can help lower your stress and it can improve your heart health.
Hmm. Right. So some of the benefits of pets are, many of us remain unaware of the physical and mental benefits that can
Hmm.
also accompany the pleasure of snuggling up with a furry friend. And it's only recently, folks, that the studies have really begun to scientifically explore the benefits of a human and animal bond, right? So
Yes.
pets have evolved, of course, and have become actually attuned to humans and our behavior, our emotions, etc. Dogs, for example, they're able to understand many words that we use, but they're even better at interpreting our tone of voice, body language, gestures. Now, I want to go one step further than that.
Okay.
Not only the tone of voice, the body language, and the gestures, but they can feel your energy. They can feel your internal vibration. They can feel whether they're trained or not. If they, your animal, my dog did it, understood when I was getting ready to have a seizure. He's not trained. I didn't get him from, a therapy place, for, my therapeutic dog to understand that. At the time, hell, I didn't even know I was having seizures, right? They were just these things. But they know that, Jim. That is amazing.
Yeah, they're so in tune and they're able to pick up that because I love the article that was put in through the help guide there about your best friends, you and your dog. And they talk about finding creative ways to handle stress with a companion who will always be there for you. And that's your dog. That's that unconditional love. And Donna, if there's one thing as humans that we all crave and we want in our lives, we can't live without it. And
It's
that's love.
Mm-hmm.
And we want unconditional love. And that's exactly what dogs bring to the party.
Well, and I think cats can do it too. Jim, you've had cats, many cats over the years,
I'm their slave, is what I am when
right?
it comes to cats.
And I currently have 4 cats, and they're all different. They all have their own personalities. Some of them are calmer than others. Some of them one of them's a little rowdier than the rest of them. But they give unconditional love. And it's amazing because when at least for me, Jim, I learn every single day by all 5 of my animals. I learn how to be a better person by how they are and how they interact and how they give. And I learn how to be silly and look at them. How often do we laugh at their antics? Why can't we be silly? Right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I learn from them, and I learn how to give more unconditional love.
You're absolutely correct on that, Donna. And it just amazes me how, animals, especially dogs, their sole focus in life is to be your best friend. They want to get closer and closer and closer to you. And because you're part of their pack,
Right.
they take that seriously. And that's the type of lessons we can learn because when it comes to our family and our friends, how many times have we thought about a family member or a friend without, hadn't talked to them in a while or hadn't sent them a text or anything, and we put it on the back burner, we forget about it. One day goes into the next, then into weeks, then into months, and we still haven't communicated with them.
Right.
That's pitiful. Dogs don't procrastinate when it comes to
they
showing you love and attention, do they?
No, and and for at least in my home, the cats don't either. But here's one of the things that, or a couple of the things I should say, that I absolutely appreciate and value and treasure about cats and dogs or other pets. But playing with a cat or a dog or any other kind of pet can elevate levels of serotonin and dopamine in your body, which can calm and relax. And pet owners have lower triglyceride and cholesterol levels, indicators of heart disease, than those without pets.
Isn't that the truth? I was reading something about the joys of owning a cat. And of course, cats are characters. And I always say when it comes to cats, everything is on their terms,
Hmm.
basically, because they're an independent breed. But I saw something here that, when cats, that, they're very low maintenance. Number one, they really are, because you can leave them in a house for a day or two with plenty of food and water and a proper, cat box, and they're good to go. But one of the things that I read here is that there was a 20-year study, and I'm looking for that information right now, but there was a 20-year study done on cats. Found out that, when you have a cat in your life, you have, this is a 20-year study, a 40% less chance of having a heart attack. That blew me away.
I think in my 57 years, Jim,
Hmm.
almost 58, I think I have gone maybe a year
Hmm.
in my entire life without a cat.
Hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. And Donna, I want you to share something that you shared with me over some time ago. When it comes to keeping your house clean, I did not think about this, but the cats are your animal's paws.
Right.
Uh,
Well, their lungs.
yes. And she says, hey, cut out all those harsh chemicals you use in your house, and I'm going to let you pick it up, take it from there, because you're a subject matter expert on that.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, let me explain it to you like this. When we go in the grocery store, and I'm not saying that the products are horrendous, but when
Mm-mm.
we go down the cleaning product aisle, there is a certain smell, right? There is a certain smell that you smell. And what that is it's outgassing of all the different products and or the chemicals that they use in making up those products, right?
Mhm.
And that outgassing. So when we use those chemicals in our home, when the outgassing of chemicals that are toxic, right?
Mhm.
When they stop, they hover at about 3 feet. Well, when we walk now, if you're like me, I'm barefoot at home. I
Mhm.
wear slippers in the winter only because my feet are cold. But from spring through fall, I'm barefoot. But animals, what? Right? We don't put them in boots 24/7, little shoes. They walk in that, they hit that, it gets on their feet. And for humans and animals alike, it takes about 28 seconds, folks, for our skin to absorb chemicals, so good or bad.
Mhm.
Now, also, let's talk about their lungs. They're lower to the ground, right? They're smaller than we are. They
Mhm.
have smaller lung capacity and they get those chemicals. Now it's gone into their feet and they lick their paws and they lick their fur, right? But they're breathing it because it's at their level. And same, folks, with our littles, our
Mhm.
children. So, not using toxic chemicals in your home is a great way to protect not only yourself, your children, but your beloved pets.
Mhm. And I had never thought about that until Donna shared that with me, because it makes sense. Because if they have something on their paws and they lick it, the tongue, oh, that just puts it in the cardiovascular system real quick, because that's what they do with heart patients. They give you nitroglycerin and they tell you to keep it
Right?
under your tongue, because they want you to be able to get all the benefit of that immediately into the bloodstream.
Right.
And when it comes to our health there, Donna, and when they talk about any pet can improve your health.
Yep.
And it shows that pet owners are less likely to suffer from depression, because pets have a way of knowing that you need to pick me up. And they'll do everything they can. And people with high have lowered their blood pressure. This is a study that's been done in stressful situations. They're able to do that, and more so than people that do not have a pet. And one study even found that when people were borderline hypertension, adopted dogs from a shelter, their blood pressure declined significantly within 5 months. And you
Right.
think about that, you're saving not one, but possibly two lives there.
Absolutely.
Ah,
Absolutely. How pets make a health style change in your life is that it plays such an important role, right?
mhm,
They can ease the symptoms of depression, anxiety, stress,
mhm.
bipolar disorder, and PTSD.
Yes.
Caring for a pet can help you make healthy lifestyle changes by
Mhm,
increasing exercise, right?
mhm.
That's a great one. Providing companionship. When you take your dog for a walk, you meet new people. It reduces anxiety. I'll tell you a little story, and I wish I could post the picture because it's adorable. When I lived in Ohio, my big old dog, Jake, he's pure white. We'd go walking, right? Well, we had a cat named J-Man, and he came to us as a stray, and he was pure black, and he was a big boy, right? He my fourth. Now I've had four black cats in my life, right?
Mhm.
This boy at his heyday weighed about 25 pounds. He was big, and he was of course neutered, and he had a big old belly. So when he would run, that belly would just swing from side to side, and it wasn't too far off the ground. But I had a gal that was about halfway down the street, and they would always see me walking with the cat and the dog. So I've got this big white dog and this
Mhm.
big black cat, right? And she was having a party one day, and it was in the summer, and I would walk Jake in the evening when it was a little bit cooler. And she, all of a sudden, I hear her open the door and say, guys, come here. She's here. The dog lady with the cat. And about 15 people come pouring out of her house. And they're all staring at me, walking my dog and a cat with no lead. And they're walking. They're their best friends. They loved each other.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
another time, a delivery guy saw us walking, and he turned around and he looked at me and he said, "Well, that's not something you see every day, now is it?"
When it comes to our animals, though, and the benefits of them and what they do for us, my goodness gracious. You know, when we talk about the pet owners who are 65 years of age and
Right.
over, 30% of them have fewer visits to the doctor than those without pets.
Hmm.
And how can that be if pets don't have any value? Of course they do. And I've there are people I know of that take a small dog, for example, into a retirement home once a week, and the folks in there, uh, it's a treat for them.
Right.
It brings back a time when they had their beloved pets,
Hmm.
and pets just have a beautiful way of knowing when someone needs some good loving.
Yep.
They really do. And just think about the health benefit and the joy and the jubilee. Plus, they have something to look forward to.
Absolutely. But having a pet adds also structure and routine to your day,
Hmm.
right? So because pets need regular feeding and or exercise, so having that constant routine keeps an animal not only balanced and calm, but it can also work for you.
Hmm.
So no matter your mood, if you're depressed, anxious, or you don't feel good, you get out of bed to feed and take care of your animals.
Hmm.
When I had COVID, I was so sick, right? And I still got out of bed and made sure that my animals had their fresh water 3 times a day, and that they had food, and that, the cat box was properly cleaned, and then I'd fall back to bed. And I may not have done it all at once, but you take care of your animals, right? So there is
Oh,
that
yeah.
structure and that routine.
Hmm. There really is. And it's really important for you because uh, when you can stay well with your animals, they make that a big deal there. And it's so important because one of the things that we all of us need sometimes, is just a simple, good old fashioned boost to our mood, to how we feel. And I remember one time my father in law, he was dealing with a difficult situation, and we had two little poodles. And these, one was mine, one was his, but they get together and they just play. And he wasn't feeling too well. He was kind of, dealing with an unpleasant situation. He was kind of aggravated. We've all been there.
Hmm.
And he's laying there on the bed, and here comes the poodles. They both jump up on the bed, and they're playing around and all that. And at first he told them, get down from here. And they did. Then they jumped back up again because I guess they knew somehow that he needs a shot of love.
Right.
He needs a good, and then he got the giggles. And I think we all know by now, or we should know by now, what a wonderful toxic for our body that laughter is. And
Right.
those two dogs had him giggling like a kid.
Right. Well, there's even studies, Jim, that show how pets help adults with Alzheimer's and
Hmm.
dementia
Yes.
disease, right? So that research at the University of California at Davis
Hmm.
concluded that Alzheimer patients suffered less stress and have fewer anxious outbursts if there was a dog or a cat in the home. And that how the pets provide a source of positive nonverbal communication,
Hmm.
and the playful interaction and gentle touch from a well trained, docile animal can help soothe an Alzheimer or dementia patient,
Mm.
right? And decrease aggressive behavior, right? Because
Ooh.
unfortunately, with Alzheimer and dementia, sometimes they get aggressive,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Just the way
Yeah.
the disease attacks the brain.
Yeah.
And I know that my mother had dementia, and we had put my folks in an assisted living home.
Hmm.
And it was a deal breaker if we couldn't find an assisted living home that would let them take their dog. And so here's a little miniature schnauzer. And if you know schnauzers, they're pretty yappy, but they're sweet, so sweet. And she would yodel and hi to everybody. And so, the beautiful thing was that my parents not only got to take their beloved dog with them,
Hmm.
but that dog brought happiness to everybody else in that home,
Hmm.
because she would go up and say hi to him. And
Hmm.
I would watch my mother. My dad didn't live long after I moved back home, but I would watch my mother, and I would visit my mom and dad about 6 days a week. And I remember watching my mom on one of her bad days when she couldn't remember anything, but
Hmm.
she always remembered that dog.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
That's very touching. It really is. And because the dogs, it's kind of like people that I've been around. My mother-in-law suffered from dementia there, and I could put on a song back in the 40s, and immediately she could just sing the tune.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And because there's something that's just hardwired in the brain there. That's above
Yes.
my, but it brings back precious memories.
Hmm.
That's the thing, because we look at our life, you think about, when we look back through the pathway of life, we remember the good things, and that's a
Right.
good thing to do. We also remember some bad things too, but when we go back to precious memories, it's always the good things, and that brings joy and jubilee in our hearts, and that's what makes life worth living.
Hmm.
Because we all
Absolutely.
know, going down the pathway of life, Donna, we've all been worried about something practically every day of our life. But 5 years ago, I was probably worried about something. You were too. But for $1 million, could you tell somebody what you worried about 5 years ago?
Yeah, right.
No, but you can make up a good one. For five. If your money's real, I'll give you a real good story.
Right. Well, one of the other things that, Jim, I think we need to touch on with the benefits of pets is about
Oh,
children.
yeah.
So, children who not only grow up with pets have less risk of allergies and asthma, but
Hmm.
they learn responsibility, compassion,
Yeah.
and empathy having a dog or a cat. And,
Yeah.
the thing about it is, unlike parents or teachers, pets aren't critical and they don't give orders. But they're always loving, and their mere presence at home can help provide a sense of security in children. And
Hmm.
having an ever present pet can help ease separation anxiety when mom and dad aren't around. But
Hmm.
having that love and companionship makes that child feel important and develop a positive self image. And it's
Hmm.
also been shown that kids who are emotionally attached to their pets are able to build a better relationship with other people,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? Because they're learning to give, and
Hmm.
they're learning that, oh my gosh, I've got to give of myself.
Hmm.
I have to help take care of the animal, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When you say that, what came to my mind, I've known several young girls that they are, cowgirls basically. They have a horse. And I'm telling you, the bond between the
Oh, yeah.
horse and them it's cemented forever.
Yep.
It really, truly is. And
It
they
doesn't
just,
matter what kind of animal you have.
not at all. Not at all.
It,
And anytime you saw the girl, chances are you saw the horse, and she's either brushing the animal or riding the animal or doing something with them, washing them or whatever. But it's just a wonderful thing to see a young person like that. And like Donna said, animals are good because you hear about cats being allergies and all that stuff, but with young kids, it automatically helps them boost their immune system, which
right.
is very, very critical and important.
Yep. It is. And children with learning disorders,
Hmm.
with autism or other learning difficulties, are better able to interact with pets than people.
Hmm.
And autistic children often rely on nonverbal cues to
Hmm.
communicate, just as animals do.
Hmm.
And learning to first connect with a pet may even help an autistic child in their interactions with people.
Hmm. You're exactly right. And I was reading something the other day because Bill Heinrich, our friend, he's very much an energy. We're all energy. We're all a vibration. The universe is expanding exponentially because of the vibration. But there was something that I read, and they're doing studies on it now about the actual stroking of the animal's
Mhm.
body, just petting them, the vibration from that.
Yeah.
It does, how can
That's
I
the
say that?
dopamine. It
Yeah.
increases your dopamine and all of that,
Hmm.
and it relieves your stress level.
Yeah,
It
what Donna
really
said.
does.
You said it so much better now. I'm over here stroking the, I'm got an imaginary pet here in my hand. How you like my invisible pet here? But yeah, it's just amazing. And it's a win-win situation because the pet loves it too. The pet can tell that they're being stroked or rubbed, and they can feel the love in return. They return to love, and that whole energy from both bodies, the human and the animal, it's just
Well,
it's just
my troublemaker Bullet, the Bombay. Well, he is.
well. Thank you very much. While I come up for air.
He's a live wire, but I'll tell
Mhm.
you what, it's really hard to get mad at him. And I say that with all truth and honesty, folks,
Mhm.
because that cat has got energy. He literally
Mm.
climbs the walls, and I'm not
Oh
joking.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
got gouges in my walls where he just gets a wild hair and he looks up at the wall on the corner of it and goes, "Huh, I
Yeah.
think I'll jump up there." And
Yeah.
so I'm like, my husband comes home. I'm like, honey, you got to fix the wall again. Honey, you got to fix the wall again. It's like a weekly thing around here. But
Mhm.
what he does is I'll go and sit down in my chair, say in the middle of the afternoon, and he'll jump down and he'll come over and he'll jump up on my lap. And that's his time with me. And he comes
Mm.
in, and if this is his head, and he just does this with his head
Mhm.
all over, like on my face or my chest, and he's purring. And it's our time. It's our little love time, right?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
after we've had about 15, 20 minutes of that, he'll go to bite me. And it's a little game. And I'll say, "You
Mhm.
don't bite me, I bite you." And when he bites me, if this is my finger and he looks at it to go to bite me, he looks like, because he's got really, really long fangs, and he looks like he's going to just rip my finger to shreds. And I'll get, the eyes get all
Oh
narrow
yeah.
like they do. And he jumps up and he goes like this, real soft. And it's a
Mhm.
big game. It's a big love,
It's a love bite. Yeah.
Yes, and it's just part of it. But I tell you, there isn't a time, and okay, that's Glock. There isn't a time that I don't walk away and feel better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They
I want
do.
to just take a moment and talk a little bit about Bombays. I'd never heard of a Bombay cat in my life. I went to the animal shelter and oh my, I went to the animal shelter and I was going to get a little cat, you know, and there was this little black kitten sitting there in the cage, and it was kind of like at a profile to me at an angle, 45-degree angle. And I was noticing the way it looked. It had this black, shiny, kind of like velvet type of fur or something.
Like satin.
Satin, thank you. And no white hair on it whatsoever. And I thought, I'm not sure, it's a cute little kitty. And it looked like it was real confidential. It was a little bitty thing, just a kitten. Very confident. And so I got it. And then I found out later it was what's called a Bombay. And they're kind of like, they're described as a miniature Black Panther. And that's very, very true because the cat's name was Tigger. And bringing her home, I mean, she was on, but you look outside the backyard, she's out there on patrol. A couple minutes later, you turn around and look in the front yard, she's out there, she's on patrol. And that's that high energy that Donna was talking about. And one time, it was the fall of the year, and I figured, well, I better get up there and I better, put some sealant around the chimney and the vents and that sort of thing. So I did. And of course, she comes up and she's got to inspect my work, make sure he's doing this right.
Right, because you don't know.
That's right. Yeah, she figured, hey, I don't know how this man survived all these years without me.
Right.
So then I get done and I come in, I sit down and get a glass of tea or water, whatever. And I'm resting, and she comes in the house and she gets up on my sweatshirt, and she's got that the way they do, and her eyes are transfixed, and she's, pawing me on my chest with her little paws. And I was petting her. I thought, wow, that's really sweet of her, and I was really enjoying it. Then I looked down and I said, wait a minute. You got up there in that black tar, and here you are wiping your feet on my T-shirt.
She's not stupid. Bombays, I've had 4 in my life. And I will tell you, not one of them was mean-spirited, even in play.
That's true.
It is rare that, and I think it's an accident, when one of my Bombays bites me hard. It's purely accident. And same with claws, because, they could obviously rip me to shred. And I have 2 Bombays currently, 1 Siamese and 1 Russian blue. And Niner, who's my Russian blue, which is an all gray cat, has got, my husband says she's got feet the size of a baseball mitt. And she does. She's the 2-ton Tessie, right? She's big, but when I'm not joking. When she spreads her feet out to knead, her feet are about that big around. She's got mitts on her. And she gives you love bites, but she gets carried away, and she bites a little too hard sometimes. And I have to, say, not so hard, baby. But, all of them purr, all of them love. And Jim, what did they give us all?
Unconditional love. There's
Absolutely.
no question about that. And that's, as we said earlier and said many times, love is something that we need. Love like we need oxygen. We can't live without it. We
Right?
cannot live without it. So let me just humbly say, we say this normally at the end of a show, but be sure and love yourself and accept the fact and embrace the fact that, yes, you are worthy of being loved.
And that being perfectly imperfect
Is
perfect.
perfectly, yeah, there you go. That's right. And because you look down the pathway of life, we've all, you look back in the rearview mirror there, we've all seen, we know we missed a couple of curves back there we should have made. So what?
Right.
Forgive yourself and laugh at yourself, because we're all harder on ourselves than we are, as far as forgiving ourselves, than we are others, aren't we, Donna?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And pets have that unconditional love, and you may be mad at them today or this morning, but this afternoon, if you're over it, they're over it.
Right. So, this other website that we found that I'm really in love with these, but it talks here about you still have to watch your weight with exercise, right? Especially, at least for me, when we get older and I'm one of those people who's genetically inclined to be heavy. So I do have to be very conscientious of my weight. But having a pet can help you manage your blood pressure, right? It said in one study, 240 married couples, pet owners, had lower blood pressure and lower heart rates during rest than people who did not have a pet. And another study showed that when children with high blood pressure petted their dog, their numbers improved.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It is. And, you know, think about how that helps everybody. You know, how that helps everybody. So I will tell you, I just found out today, Gaia, who works with us in our team, she is chief editor, there was a stray cat that they were taking care of. And she's a Russian blue. And they took her in. She was a real skinny thing. And she was pregnant. And Gaia said that she looked like, how'd she word it? Something like a skateboard or something like that. It was pretty funny. But that they brought her in, and they had a little house for her, and they brought her in, and they put her in the laundry room. And it was like a day and a half later, 2 days, she gave birth to 5 Russian blue, and they're polydactyl. So they got multiple feet. Right? Mom has them and 2 of the kittens have them. And I'm like, oh, that is awesome. So, you know, I know it's in the middle of the show, but I'd like to give a shout out to everybody out there who helps pets in need.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to shout outs, ladies and gentlemen, if there's somebody that you know you'd like for us to give a shout out to, we'll do it the first part of the show. Just email us at inspiration360tv.com. It's on the marquee there. And it'll come into the TV. Yeah. And it'll come into the TV station. Our staff will get it, and they'll make sure we get the message. And we will let you know by return email what show we're going to do that shout out on, so you can let your family member, your friend, whoever it might be. And it can be anybody on planet Earth. It could be a personal contact, like a family member or friend. It could be a business. We're good with that. So whatever you're comfortable with, we're comfortable with. So be sure, because giving shout outs to people is so important. It's just, I mean, Donna, we all feel good when we get a message from someone that says, I've been thinking about you and hope you're doing well and all that, you know. Especially someone you hadn't heard of in years, or I'd say years, a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
and
I want to
go ahead,
Jim. I'm sorry.
I just saw this here, and I just wanted to, just really share this. This article or this item here in this article is titled Snack Alarm. Snack Alarm. And for people with diabetes, a sudden drop in the level of the blood glucose, it can be very, very serious. It can be very, very life-threatening.
Yes.
And some dogs can alert their owner before it actually happens. Think about that. Think about the security, because none of us know what our blood pressure is. We know it varies all the time during the day. And the same is true with someone suffering from diabetes, that their blood glucose will vary, but the dogs can give them a heads up before it actually happens.
Absolutely.
How valuable is that to someone that suffers from diabetes?
It is invaluable.
Yeah.
Invaluable.
Yeah.
Well, how about this one, Jim? Doctors aren't sure why. It may be partly due to the effects of owning a pet have on a person's circulation. But researchers think that cats may have a more calming effect on their owners than other animals do. It may have something to do with the personality of a cat owner. Cats often become the focus of their owner's interest, which diverts them from stressful worries. But what it says is that fewer strokes happen amongst cat owners.
That's really amazing. And when it comes to animals and stuff like that, even some of the people in the field of counseling. You take, for example, a counselor, some mental health therapists, they will use a dog in their therapy.
Yes.
And one of the things the patient, I should say, they know that the dog is not going to judge them or anything like that. A dog is just going to be recognize that this person needs love. They're trained dogs, but a dog in the office, it helps people become more comfortable and relaxed
Hmm.
because it has that down home effect to it. It
Right.
really does. And one therapist tells about a couple in their office who started to argue, and the dog, which is usually just slept during a session or laying over there, got up and wanted out. And they used that to help the couple see, or the dog used that to help the couple seeing that their fighting affected others, especially children. And that is so
Wow.
true. Yeah. Because as adults, you're going to have disagreements, and that's
Right.
normal and natural. But you don't carry on your disagreements in front of your children.
No.
If you have a private conversation like adults, and if you're too upset to have a civil conversation, cool off first,
Right.
and
Well,
don't throw the relatives into it.
well, I like this portion of this article is it
Okay.
talks about limitations of ADHD, Jim.
Hmm.
When a child with ADHD works with and keeps a pet, there can be benefits.
Hmm.
It gives them practice with chores, planning, and responsibility. Pets
Hmm.
need to play, and that helps kids burn off extra energy.
Oh yeah.
In turn, that can mean an easier time falling asleep at night. And
Hmm.
because the bond between a pet and a child is, here we go with those two words, unconditional love,
Hmm.
pets help children with ADHD
Hmm.
learn about self esteem.
Oh yeah. And I realize there's a lot of wonderful things that the medical community does with children with ADHD, but also look for natural ways to bring that down naturally
Right,
because that's beneficial. It really it's a win-win situation. And be sure and clear that with your medical doctor if your child is on medication, but also look for ways to be proactive rather than here's your pill and be
right,
reactive. That's
right.
what I'm saying because if prevention is much better than treatment any day of the week, we all know that.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, when it comes to our pets and all that, my goodness gracious, uh, how about cancer cure
Oh,
and cancer care? Dogs and cats can give the same type of uh, they can get the same kind of cancers as humans do, obviously, because of the food and different things. But for example, studies of prostate cancer in dogs have led to better understanding of how it develops in older men. And preventing cancer in pets may lead to new strategies for people. But people who suffer from cancer and they have a dog or cat in their life, it really does enhance the healing properties
right,
inside your body, your immune system, all that. It helps flourish it.
right.
And that's the way I explain it. It just brings it to life and gets a good vibration going because uh, we know several people that are into Reiki, and they talk about having good vibration because we're all a vibration. We really
Right,
are.
right.
And it's, you just can't say enough about our dogs and our cats and our pets. And I know people that have pet parrots. I mean, I remember as a kid, my uncle had a parrot, and that parrot would talk and get our attention. And then we'd go over there and we'd try to talk to it, get to talk and all that. And what we did not realize at the time, when we walked away, the parrot would say something, we'd come back. We were entertaining the parrot. We wanted the parrot to entertain us.
Right, right. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. And I'm looking at some of these other stories.
Oh, yeah. We
How
got a
about
lot of
this
stuff
one?
here. Go ahead.
right? A calming presence. People with AIDS are less likely to be depressed if they own a pet, especially if they're strongly attached. And
Hmm.
with an animal in the home, people with Alzheimer's have fewer anxious outbursts.
Hmm.
The animal who helps the caregivers feels less burdened.
Hmm.
Cats seem to be particularly helpful since they need less care than dogs. But
Hmm.
let's be honest and take that a step. There's also a lot of dogs who are trained to help with, as a service animal, to help with caregiving of a certain person.
Hmm. Absolutely. And we're getting down to about, just got a few
A
minutes left
couple
in the
minutes,
show.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk on one thing that's very, very important, near and dear to my heart. And that is about pets. And when it comes to autism, the sensory issues are common among children with autism sensory disorder. And what they found is that when dogs and horses, whatever they're working with there, they really help them uh, to deal with that. And the one thing I wanted to mention is that look at the prisons. People who don't know love, people who maybe come up on the the hard side of life. They never knew love. They only knew how if you want something, you better go out and get it. And you better take it because otherwise, if you don't, someone else will. And people who have lived a criminal life and they have these horses and stuff, and they start caring for these horses, and it really changes the individual.
Right.
It's one of the greatest rehabilitation programs they ever came up with because there's several prisons, state prisons around in United States that has these horse programs in there. And the inmates are responsible for shoeing the horses,
Hmm.
caring for the horses, and it gives them a reason to live.
There are those
Mm.
programs in Arizona, Texas,
Hmm.
New Mexico,
Yeah.
Nevada. I know those
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah. And that should be something that should be implemented in all of the state prison systems and even the federal prison system
Hmm.
because you think about what that horse, in this case, what they use as horses, but you think about what that horse does and what it brings to the party. It gives a inmate a chance to really care for something that's worth caring for. Maybe they can trust the animal too. The animal's
Right.
not going to, be one way to their face and another way to their back because that's what they went through in life, and they can learn to love and trust something, and that is
Right.
so important, so critical. My goodness gracious, you folks in third world countries, if you don't have, or other countries around the world, I should say, if you don't have a program like that, why not implement one? Why not start?
Right.
Because you could make a great be a great asset to anyone there.
Yep.
And we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen, because otherwise, if I get on another topic, we're going to run over and you'll see the hook.
But
But
we thank you.
yes, we've really enjoyed you being with us today. Bless you. Remember how important it is to love yourself and to love others. And remember that you're so worthy of love that any dog that you find at a shelter will give you unconditional love. That's how special you are. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.